45. I feel like this is like monumental because 45 is, you change age brackets, you know how it'll be like 5 to 10, the age range. So now when you become 45, you're like 45 to 50. So I'm closer to 50. I'm like, oh Lord, it's getting serious out here.
Welcome to Living in 3D Power, a space where questions matter, stories heal, and joy is our practice.
Hey, it's me, Emma. Welcome back to Living in 3D Power, and today is a special episode. It's my mommy's birthday.
Yay, how old am I going to be?
25?
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, 25.
Add a couple more years, 45. I feel like this is like monumental because 45 is, you change age brackets, you know how it'll be like 5 to 10, the age range. So now when you become 45, you're like 45 to 50. So I'm closer to 50. I'm like, oh Lord, it's getting serious out here.
You're not 50.
No, but I'm in that age bracket now. So yeah, I'm glad to be doing this episode with you. We're actually filming this 2 days before my birthday. Yeah. So I thought about what we talked about last week, and you know how you gave us a challenge, the Chicken Nugget Wisdom, and you said that we need to what?
Write a poem about how your feelings feel in your body.
Yeah, and you also said your facial expressions. Yeah. So I took that to heart, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do a poem.
I wrote a poem, but it was about you.
Ooh, so I get to hear that?
Yeah.
So I think we're going to share that because we promised the viewers that we would share our poem. I actually shared mine on the 3D Power Pause on Sunday, and something out of that developed was this concept when we were having our private journaling, and there was a question about control versus care, and I had this image of a vise. So you probably aren't too familiar, but you'll start seeing those in middle school. But it's like this mechanical clamp, and you kind of use the handle to crank it. You know how the microphone is on my desk, and below that has that. So it's kind of like a crank like that, and it clamps it together to make things tight so they will stay stable and they don't move. So it restricts something. So I had this thought about control versus care, and I thought about, am I the heart or am I the vise? And as I was, why is that T? What is that? What is that? What is that? Why was that deep?
That was wisdom.
Why is that?
Because if you're the heart, you're letting all your emotions free, let how you feel. But if you're the vise, you're trying to like keep it in and like stop it, saying stop.
Oh, you summed it up beautifully. So what's helping me in this season, because of all the hard things that are going on, it's just like pile on, is that I can literally feel like I get a lot of tension in my chest and in my heart area. So as I'm having that symptom or that, that feeling, that sensation, I visualize the clamp, the vise, and I visualize my heart. So when I feel the constriction, when I feel it being restricted, I say that I'm the heart, and I can be soft and I can let my heart beat and let it flow freely. So, but that question about the heart versus the vise was really resonating with me. So I thought, because birthdays are hard for me, but I'm learning in more recent years to celebrate them more fully. And being 45, what better way to also do that more fully? So it's a practice for me. So I thought, what better way to practice with you, because you posed that question about feel it, where is it in your body? And you're very in tune with your body. But then I thought about the heart and the vise. So I thought today, let me be in the practice in real time, because what I've been talking about with friends and colleagues is about what does it feel like to be celebrated? So you know how we did the birthday video for you, and you're like, you're going to make me cry. And we're like, that's okay. Right? It was really beautiful for you to receive your flowers, even when we had the national convention and someone literally gave you flowers. And I thought, how powerful is that at 11 to be receiving your flowers? Because some people wait a lifetime, don't ever receive their flowers, don't ever feel celebrated. And usually it happens in death. And so because we've experienced so much loss, and we learn about a lot more about people once they're gone, like what does it look like to live a full life, to be receiving celebration, to sit in that and the tension of that and the discomfort of that. And oftentimes that has been in my experience where I feel weird about people saying something good about me.
weird.
It's uncomfortable. Or have you ever, I think we talked about this before, like receiving a compliment, like why do you have to give one back? Why can't you just sit in the compliment? But we feel like it has to be this transactional thing, like give and take. Like I'm purchasing something as a transaction, right, to get something back. But just sit in that and be like, thank you, right? Like, but we feel like it has to be a back and forth. So I'm learning to sit in that. I'm learning what celebration looks like because I like to celebrate other people. What does it look like to be celebrated? What does it look like for people to affirm me, to be poured into when I pour into so many other people? So I think it's really cool. Well, I don't know if I want to say cool, but it's a little nerve-wracking, anxiety provoking for me. But I think what better way to do it than to do it with you, because you're so attuned and you're so wise. And I think it's also me reclaiming that I should also be celebrated, and it's teaching you that it's beautiful to be celebrated and that it doesn't matter the age, that you can also pour in and I can pour in and vice versa. So we're going to be at practice of that today. So I thought we would start with the questions that you're going to ask me.
Yes.
And I'll share the image on the screen, but I try to come up on Canva. You're like, did you do this in Canva, Mommy? With the Vise and the hearts in between.
I
And I think
tell.
it's a really good visual. I know. Maybe I can actually have Daddy do something more graphic since he's a graphic designer. I did the best I could.
A little cartoony.
It is very cartoony, but it's okay. I tried my best. So I just was thinking that you could ask me those questions and then we can go into the challenge. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you think about your birthday, what does your body feel like right now?
You said birthday, and I noticed I took a deep breath. And a deep breath is because I'm noticing the response, like how my heart feels. So, right, the Vise versus the heart. So I felt the constriction, I felt the tightness, but I was
How's
like,
that not hurt?
oh, my knuckles? Doesn't. But I felt the tightening. So I was like, I let the breath loosen, right? You feel that? Like it loosens and you can breathe. So can you repeat that question? Because I felt it in my body and I just wasn't, I was focused on the body response instead of the question. Okay.
When you think about your birthday, what does your body feel like right now?
So tension. But I quickly learned to kind of release it. So we've been talking about the both and. So learning where also the ease and joy and the desire or the love of being around people that love me. And what does that feel like? Also, not just the constriction and how, and how uncomfortable it can feel about. And it has nothing to do with me turning 45. Some people get really upset because they're getting older. And I always looked at growing older as a blessing. So I'm not one of those, like, you might not know this, but older women think it's rude to ask someone their age. Did you know that? They're like, you don't ask a woman their age. And I don't think it's a problem, but society says it's a problem to ask a woman their age. But I think it's a blessing.
Why?
Because because society puts this standard on women about growing old and getting gray hair. That's why more women dye their hair than men. You know, men get gray and distinguished, and women get like they're old hags or like they're older and they're withered. And society hasn't changed that narrative that we somehow always have to look younger. So you think about the plastic surgery and all the things and people getting facelifts and they're sometimes disfiguring their face to try to look younger instead of celebrating their wrinkles and all things. So people are like, oh my God, I'm getting a wrinkle. So I'm getting this line right here because I furrow my brow. But look at that as experience, as wisdom, as
Smile lines.
But you smile and that's beautiful that, you know, I've made it 45 years. So I'm trying to change that narrative and I will never dye my hair. You know how earlier, was it last week? And I'm like, Emma, do you see gray hairs in my head? Because
I was like, yes. There's one that was like super long. It was so curly and long.
yeah. And I'm like, I've maybe been late because there's some people that have been gray for like, you know, over.
Daddy.
Yeah, so Daddy started getting salt and pepper young, and you and Maya even have gray hair. So y'all have
Maya
more gray
just
hair than me.
Pulled
She
one out.
literally pulled one out
Yes.
yesterday out of her locks. So, but I think all of that is pretty cool. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I was telling your dad, I said, I'm getting gray hair. And he's like, what? And he saw it. He's like, wow. But again, I think it's a blessing. So to answer your question, I felt tension, but because I'm learning to attune to my body, I was like, whoo, release it. But it's getting curious about why the tension is there. I think that's helpful too. It's like, okay, release it. But why did I get tense instead of just heart versus vice? Yeah.
Okay. What did you learn about birthdays or being celebrated when you were little?
What did I learn about birthdays? I think the first thing I thought of, there's a picture. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know. I was probably around your age, and we had a birthday party for me at Doc's roller rink in Middletown. And I think you've been at, I don't know if you've been at roller rink. I think about it, but I remember it might have been like 2 years in a row I had a birthday party there. Okay, and here's I just felt the tension again. So during one of those birthday parties, it might have been the one with the picture. So you know how my mom's been in and out. You don't know my mom. You've never met her. You think you saw her on a Zoom one time, like a family Zoom.
Did I?
I don't know, but it was like I can't remember. It was during COVID. We got on the family Zoom, and but what's coming up right now for me is that I remember that birthday, and I don't know if she had just come back around, but I remember her being out on like you do the limbo. You know how you do that but I had this visual of that. But my friends being like, "Who is that?" Because they didn't know her. And I felt really uncomfortable because how do your friends not know your mother, right? So I think I'm losing your question, but was it like, what I learned about celebrating? So I think then I felt some kind of shame or discomfort because I'm like, they don't even know my mom and she's here and she's, taking up all this space when it's my birthday. So I felt really strange about that.
Was it that picture that looks like Maya?
Yeah, where I have like the
Yeah.
80s, like, I don't know, the shirt on with the
And
blue
then the big
pants.
glasses.
It does, yeah. So I don't know if that's the one she was at or not, but that's the first thing that came to mind. So I'm just kind of like letting it flow what came to mind. But I also think, I'm trying to think like how often people were celebrating our family. So I think about Daddy and his family, like they always did birthday cake, saying happy birthday every birthday. That was not something it's not something we do in our family.
Yeah, we don't do that.
So it's like a big birthday celebration. So it'd be milestone birthdays. Like we do a big first birthday for y'all. I don't even know if that was a family thing, but I started that. Like, so 1-year-old birthday is really important. And then we'll do like your double digit book. 16, Maya had her outdoor party. That was what she wanted to do. JoJo's was during COVID. And then, graduation. But I think in terms of celebration, it was always like milestones. It's almost like you had to earn it. But it's, again, I think about celebration, like what does it look like every day? Why do you have to wait for something important to happen? And also having the spotlight on you, and then you have other people that are being like, look at me too. That's been part of my experience, and I don't think that feels great, right? Where you're like, it's actually my birthday, and you're jealous that it's my birthday. And that's been a common experience for some people in my family, making me feel like I can't be centered in this moment. So I've always kind of struggled. And then I think the other part is, and I was talking to Annalise about that this morning, and I got emotional, was birthdays have always been hard for me because I wasn't raised by my biological mom and dad. And I think about my birth story and how my mom hid me, like she was in college and she waited until maybe a month, 3 weeks before I was born. And I just learned the story recently, and she called and she said, I'm pregnant, and she didn't have any prenatal care. And so they, got her home, and then I was born a couple weeks later. And I think about how shocking that would be. Like, you didn't know. You ever hear stories about people that didn't know they were pregnant and they go into labor? Maybe not. Hopefully that's not coming up on your algorithms on YouTube Kids. But it's a thing. Some people don't know, and they go into labor. They think they have cramps, and then they have a baby. And think about the surprise about being like, oh my gosh, she's off in college, doing basketball. And
Basketball?
Yeah, she's like almost 6'1" or 6'1". So really phenomenal athlete and track and basketball, and comes home and she's like, surprise, that's a big surprise. So I think about all those things, and somehow through the years, I internalized that, and particularly internalizing that I can probably count on one hand how many times she actually said happy birthday to me and how much that stings to have a mother that doesn't say happy birthday. That hurts. And learning that that's not my issue, right? That's not a me issue, and I still deserve to be celebrated. Yes. So that's a whole long way of saying some of those things that have come up for me. But it's all okay. Just acknowledging it and being like, but I still deserve to be celebrated. And it has to start with me first. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. What would it look like for you to be the heart on your birthday this year?
Okay, so being the heart, I think what I learned, I was talking to someone else about this and being like, your dad did awesome last year for my birthday. Like, remember we went out of town, like he had this whole thing planned out. And I think, yes, like your dad did awesome planning that, went to awesome restaurants, got to meet the chef from, my gosh, here it goes again. Here goes my brain. Kalea in Fishtown in Philly. But I think the other part that I have to own is that in the past, I didn't allow myself to be open to receive that celebration. So you know how you'll send out signals? So my body language and my disposition, as we would call it, or like how I was feeling, was being projected out. So people are like, you know, she don't want to celebrate her birthday, so let me just back off. But when I made a conscious decision to be like, I should start celebrating life. Life is precious. We learned that from Uncle Avery. Life is short. So let me celebrate that. And I think once I opened myself up to that, I think it allowed your dad then to be like, oh, she's ready to be celebrated. So yeah, I think it's twofold. Like, what do I do to honor myself? And that allows other people to be like, okay, how do I honor her? Because it's really hard when you're like this. Yeah. Or you're sad and people are like, okay, she not ready. So yeah, so I think, those questions make sense? Was that too deep?
No.
Okay, so we're going to shift gears back to your challenge. But thank you for asking me those questions. Those are things I needed to continue to think about. I think it could help other people too that struggle. I know I'm not the only one that struggles on my birthday, and it doesn't have to be a situation like mine. It could just be you're afraid to get older or whatever else it is. But I think thinking about that and how do you honor yourself, not just on your birthday, but more regularly, and open yourself up. Be the heart and not the vice.
There's one fake word in mine.
There's a fake word? Okay, so we're shifting to the poem. So how would you like to do this? Because your challenge was create a poem. First. You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay,
The birthday girl.
The birthday girl. So you said create a poem and then also think about how it felt in your body. So what I did, there's a book called The Artist's Way. I can't think of the author, but I'll put it in the show notes. And every morning she wants you to do morning pages. And it's basically like stream of consciousness. Whatever comes up for you, just put it on the page. So that's what I did with the poem. I was like, I'm not going to think about it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just have to put it on the page. So this is what I came up with. And I'm not a poet by any sense. But I titled it Just Feel It because that's what you were like, just feel it. And it also ties in with your just do it. So I'm like, you have these words and these ways of saying. So you ready? Yeah. I wish I could do it in a poetic voice like Evita Cologne. Like I wish I had her skill. But let's see, I'll do the best that I can.
You already have your speaking voice.
Yeah, but it's like the cadence and the rhythm. You know how when she was reading her poem, like it is like, it's something powerful when you heard her recite a Black girl's poem.
Yes.
How powerful that was. So let's see what comes up for me. Okay. It's titled Just Feel It. Just feel it, Emma says. Just do it, she says too. Just be. Just be still. Just be you. Just feel your way through the darkness. Just feel the warmth that will greet you on the other side. Just feel. Just be still and know that I am God. Just be. Be. And in your being, rest in me. Rest in what you feel, all of what you feel. Allow it to wash over you like a gentle wave. The high tide that came before, the crashing waves that felt like you would drown you, but you buoyed to the surface and you came up for air. Now breathe. Breathe deeply. Breathe this breath of life. And with each breath, release the tension in your jaw. Soften your furrowed brow. Drop your shoulders. Anchor yourself in your miraculous body. Come home to yourself. You are never meant to leave. Welcome home. What do you think?
That was good. Mine sounds bad compared to yours.
No, it's not a comparison. It's just whatever came up. But I'll say, like, is there any part for you that, like, you were like, yay, like that got you while I was reading that?
The ocean. This is when it stopped recording.
Now I see it.
So basically, I told mommy that it wasn't filming, but mommy didn't believe me, which is okay.
Well, it's
because
not.
I looked at the reflection. I always look at the reflection on the TV to see if it's filming, and I saw that it was black. The screen was black, and then I was like, it's not filming. And mommy was like, oh, no, it's not. And then we kept on filming, and then, yeah.
You could have been more persistent. I was definitely looking at the monitor and not the screen. I never even thought to look at it. Again, your wisdom. And so literally, I'm like, of all days. And you were so good and grounded. You were like, it's okay, mommy. We can just film it again. And I'm like, but I don't want to. It was good how
All
it was.
I have to do is shower and then go to sleep.
No, but I'm saying, though, that it was such a good conversation. And we didn't. And that's never, ever happened. And the fact that it had to happen on this episode, I'm like, trash.
Stinky.
Trash. It's just like another thing to breathe through.
Yeah.
So we played back the part where it stopped after I read my poem.
So I have to read my poem.
Right, but I also think I did ask you the part that where it cut off was I asked you the part like what was most resonant to you or what part got you, and what part did you say?
I said the like boogieing up to the surface.
The buoying up to the surface, like bobbing up to the surface, and I think you gave me a chicken nugget wisdom. We're also going to see how this Perry brain works if I can remember the stuff because your wisdom, your wisdom in that was when I think about like how you're learning to swim and how you have to relax in the pool, and if you're tense, you're not going to float. And if you relax, you float. So I think about you were talking about those crashing waves, the waves coming over you, but you also said something about how you feel. You remember saying something swarming around you?
Yeah, like when I'm upset, it feels like something's like swarming around me.
Yeah, and I think that made me think of the pool and how if we just relax. So you gave me another thing about the heart and the vice. If I can be more of the heart and relax, I can come up to the surface. But if I'm tense and holding on, like you're going to keep sinking. So I think it's releasing, letting whatever it is be what it is, and you'll come up to the surface. So I think that was really powerful. So that you gave me to think about as well. So you gave me another visual, not just the heart and the vice, but the coming upper surface and relaxing and floating. So thank you for that.
I gotta read my poem again. I'm not gonna get your first reaction though.
I'm going to have to yes, it's fine. It's fine.
My poem's called Mommy, Mommy. Mommy, you can be my trust, even though it is rough. But through all the gust, Mommy, there is no need to rush. Getting through the trauma, there is no need for drama. And don't be a llama because you're in your pajamas. So have some fun and say hello to the Bahamas in your spa day boogalaga. Happy 25th birthday.
So I love that you made up the word boogalaga because you was like, there's a made up word in here, but I love the boogalaga. I love that you rhymed. And again, so let me see the part that you said, Mommy, you can be my trust. So explain that to me.
Like, I can tell you anything and you can like stick up for me.
So that you trust me and you can confide in me. I love that. Because what I was thinking was like even that you can be my trust I don't know, there's like a trust fund. I think about that like being a bank and holding those things, but that's also kind of like what you're saying. So I think
A
that's
bank?
well, like a trust. So like holding things, like accruing things, like making sure that you contain things and keep things safe. Oop, look, it gave me the phone too close. She
Mommy!
has that setting on her phone. I don't know if that caught it on the first take or not, but the setting on your phone, if it's too close, I set up on her phone that it will make you back it up. So it told me I was too close.
Mommy.
Yes. And the other thing is, even though it is rough, but through all the gust, mommy, there is no need to rush. And the wisdom in that, Emma, is so powerful because this world has us rushing through. And I've been talking about that. I think I wrote this in a newsletter. Are you reading the newsletter by any chance? You didn't subscribe to Living in 3D Power?
No, I just film it.
Right, right. But
just film
in
it.
the newsletter I do on Sundays, I was talking about rushing through life and being still, and how you're talking about just feel it. And I think there's beauty in to feel something, you have to sit in it. So when I speak, when I do workshops, people will often say, because I sat with that, I had this revelation. I remember something, but we don't, and it could be something as like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be like an hour, 5 hours, but giving yourself that time to just be still and present allows you not to rush through life and to feel what you're feeling. And also, when you talk about getting through the trauma, there is no need for drama. So the first time, because now we're on the second take, I'm gonna have to let this go because it is so frustrating, but it's fine. That's where I got a little misty, because you're talking about getting through the trauma. There's no need for drama, but the trauma that we've experienced and endured and that we're navigating and working through the healing journey, and you're talking about the no need for drama, I think it makes me think about perspective. So it could be really dramatic, right? Like even what's happening right now, like there's some drama that could possibly unfold with that. However, what do I do? What do we do to create safeguards and boundaries so that we don't get subjected to that drama? How we have like an exit strategy? What does that look like to make sure that we're safe? I think is really, really important, because drama is about perspective, I think. So there's a lot of things that could go left real quick, but there's a lot of things when we're in community and with people that we love and care for, and that will stand in the gap for us and say, not on my watch. That's Barry Iyanla Van Zant. You don't know who that is, but I have to introduce you. Iyanla Van Zant is like a life coach, and she'll be like, not on my watch. And she'll do that like because she sticks up for people and she wants to make sure people aren't being harmed in front of her. So I think the drama thing makes me think about something my therapist said to me is like, who are the people that support you? Making sure you have them right. So Emma, my family, like thinking about those people that can stand in the gap so that things don't turn into drama. And that you have to leave when you see the signs. Like you don't got to be subjected to that. So I think that's powerful. And then the pajamas in the Bahamas and the spa day, because I'm going where on my birthday?
The Hershey Spa.
Yes, I am. And I'm going to get me the Cuban experience. And I'm going to start with a bath soak, which I've never done before. I'm a little like, what's that going to be like? And then I'm going to get the salt scrub, which I absolutely love. They're going to scrub me down. I love me a good salt scrub. And it's very bizarre because it's like you literally sitting on this table and they hose you down on the table after to get the salt off, and then they slather you down, and then I'm going to get a massage. But I'm going. People are like, are you going with anyone? Nope. No, I'm not. I'm going by myself because there's something about like the quietness and the sacredness of just being alone on my birthday that I absolutely love. And also your dad got me this gift card an entire year ago for my birthday last year, and I didn't use it. So
Tisk,
honor
tisk,
that.
tisk.
That. Even though Daddy did take me to the spa last year.
True.
In Philly. So yes, I did go to the spa. But yeah, it's something that I'm treating myself to on my birthday. So yeah, I think that's beautiful. So I think we did a good job recapping what we remember.
Yes.
I think we got it all.
Yes.
And then now we shift into what? What are we shifting into? I can't remember.
The questions that you're asking me.
So you already asked me the questions?
Yeah.
Did we do that live? Or do we mess that up? No, you have to do it again. So after that, don't you read the questions to me?
No, I did it in the beginning, Mommy.
Girl, 45 over here. You talk about 25. This is a 45-year-old brain.
You look 25. You do the questions for me.
Okay, I hope you're right.
I am.
Okay. Your brain's a lot younger. So yes. So the shift then is because in the practice of thinking about the heart or the vice and honoring being celebrated. And I think what I shared was how hard that was for me, and thinking about people taking up space and not, and feeling like, oh, I can't take up space because people were jealous, or they just, it was very bizarre, some of the experiences I've had. So I thought, what better way to talk about feeling it and being the heart versus the vice than to do it with someone so compassionate and who loves me so deeply than you, that I can practice this in real time and sit in what you have to say and not deflect and not be like, and honor, just if I feel weird or awkward, it's okay. Be in the practice of receiving love while I'm yet here, receiving your flowers while you're alive. Because what I talked about with NASP is like, you got to receive your flowers. You got to receive your flowers for your 11th birthday. And remember, you were like, I need tissues. And I thought it was just so beautiful that you got to experience that at 11. And I hope that's something you remember always, because I feel like everyone deserves that.
Yeah.
So I have 4 questions for you. And the first question is, what do you love about me that I might not always see or believe?
Your beauty. And sometimes you're fashion. Sometimes.
Wow. Sometimes. How'd I do today with my pajama? I'm trying to hide my pajama shorts. I mean, this is not an outfit. I just threw in a shirt real quick so we could film. It's giving like, I don't know, this is like middle-aged shirt, like Little House on the Prairie or something.
I like the design.
Yeah, I think and it's all about how you style it. So if I wore it with like a maxi skirt, that would be very Little House on the Prairie. But if I wore it with my ripped jeans, my ripped barrel jeans, I think that could be a look. Or with some fun heels, it could be a look. Okay, well, I'll let you style me. So we'll see if you approve my birthday outfit then. But I love that. So beauty, and I think for you, like, do you see yourself in me?
Smile.
Smile. I think you do have more of my smile than Daddy's smile, because Daddy has like a very wide smile. Like Maya has that. So I think that too, because sometimes I look at you, I'm like, dang, I don't see any.
It's okay. I got your personality.
100%. All right, so second question is, what do you think people should celebrate about me, even if it's hard for me to receive it?
You.
The look, though. What does that mean?
Your achievements.
My achievements? So what have I achieved in my my 45 years of life?
25.
Okay, 25.
Maybe 35.
Okay, depending on what I wear, maybe I look older. I feel like what you wear can make you look older.
True.
So my achievements, so what do you mean?
A great wife, a great mother, a great sister, a great aunt, a great person, a kind person.
I love that, because when I heard achievement, I thought degrees, accolades, all those things, which is what society says. And I'm having a conversation earlier with Anna Misa, and she was like, girl, you've accomplished so much. And I think we think as adults about all that, those things that, not materialistic things, but like things that society says, oh, you are worthy now of attention. And what you're saying is just me being me, regardless of any degrees. It has nothing to do with anything that I achieve. It's just me being me. And also, I think it's very Maya Angelou, because she talks about, like, when you leave this earth, it's not about, people aren't going to remember what you said or what you did for them. They're going to remember how you made them feel. And I think that's wisdom, right? That's good. So I think what you're saying is, like, focusing on what that legacy looks like. When I think about legacy and you giving that to me, it's like, how do I make people feel? And how do I make people feel those things more consistently? Because that's important. Yeah. And so people will definitely remember that. Yeah, that's some good stuff. That helped reframe for me, because I was definitely thinking you're going to be like, you're a doctor and, you're a school psychologist. And you're like, no, that's not what I mean. Wisdom. I mean, that was some wisdom there. That was good. That was good. Okay. So third question is, when have you seen me be soft instead of strong? And you get that heart versus vice thing, like softness versus, yeah.
I think when you let your emotions flow and when you cry.
So softness to you is what then?
Showing your emotions.
Showing your emotions. Is softness always showing like those more vulnerable emotions like crying? Is there other ways to be soft than crying?
Joy.
Yeah, so I love it, but you're saying, have you seen me show my emotions a lot, like crying a lot? Is that something you see me do regularly?
No.
Is it rare? Would you say it's rare?
Kinda.
So do you think that's a bad thing that it's rare? It's okay, be honest.
Kinda.
Why?
Because I feel like you should be able to show your emotions and not be like, I need to hide this and I have children.
Is that what you think I do? Sometimes like I try to hide it?
Yeah.
Can you give an example where you felt like I was doing that?
When you cried like a month ago, I think, you were like, Emma, I'm fine. I'm fine.
And you're like, no, you're not. And I don't know if I really said I'm fine. I think I was that when I was on the phone?
Yeah.
I don't know, but did I say, I did say I was fine, right? It was very like a knee-jerk reaction, like I'm fine, but I think part of it was like I didn't want you to hear the nature of the conversation, but also it was like
I didn't hear anything.
the child, you ever hear the phrase ears in the cornfield? You be listening, you be ear hustling. She hears everything.
This is the part where I told you that the camera was off.
And I didn't hear you.
Yeah, you didn't hear me.
And we would have been done. And now I'm going to be looking at the screen because I can see that it's still recording. The wisdom and the intuition that you have that I never even like was aware of that.
I'm just like that.
You are like that. It's okay though. This is a growth moment because even so, was that soft or was that strong when I was frustrated?
Soft.
So when I was like, oh my gosh, it stopped recording, was that softness or was that strong?
Softness.
Why would you say that was soft?
Because you were like, oh. You weren't like, oh. It stopped recording.
I wasn't robotic.
Yeah.
So did I express my emotions?
Yeah, you were like,
And what did you do? How did you respond to that?
I patted your back.
And you hugged me. So
It's okay.
you're giving me permission to do more of that. And I think the beautiful part about that is in our family, we talk about the strength that we have as women because we saw my mom being strong and like the women in our family are very strong. But what that also does, it's not a bad thing to be resilient. But I think I had a meeting earlier talking about Black and brown girls and how resilience and strength can be weaponized, means they'll use it against us, that they think we always have to be strong. And we wear it as like a badge of honor. And it's harmful because someone today was saying she talked to a middle schooler about that. And she was like, people keep telling me, oh my gosh, you're so strong. Like it's an award. And she was like, I just want to be, why can't I be soft? So we talk about soft girl era. Like I want to be in my soft girl era. And what does that feel like? So I think about the heart versus the vice. So I love that you're saying in real time, look, you had me, oh my gosh, my heart sank because I thought that thing got dark.
You're like,
I was like, I could not. Y'all would have saw, you wouldn't have saw it because it would have went blank again. But I think I appreciate you saying like to see that because we didn't grow up seeing that a lot. And it taught us in very real ways how to be strong. But strength is not being numb to our emotions and being robotic, like you're saying. Strength is being able to show that and giving people permission to see it. What I say to parents all the time is like, let your children see you cry. Or the dog's barking. Listen, this is just real, y'all, because we should have been done, but here we are. And Kibo is already behind on his food, right? Like he should have been 8. So he that dog can tell time.
he's smart. That's our dogs.
He likes to communicate verbally.
Yes, and Hero likes to communicate. I wouldn't say. I don't know how he communicates.
With his eyes.
Yes, he's like. He gives me the puppy dog eyes, or he gives me the side eye. He's always like. Or he's like.
Yeah, he definitely is more like a typical dog, because dogs should not be barking all the time. But Kibo thinks he's human, and he's literally, I don't know if it'll pick up on this. It'll probably block it out now that he's downstairs, but barking until he gets his food.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Okay, so final question. What do you hope for me this year as I learn to be more like the heart?
I hope you show your emotions more.
What kind of emotions?
All types.
All types. Do you think I constrict myself from showing various emotions? Do you think I only have
Yeah.
like a little bit of emotion that I show?
You hide the quote unquote bad emotions.
Oh, what are those quote unquote bad emotions?
Like anger, sadness.
So you're saying you hope for me this year. What would that do if I show more of my emotions? How do you think that would help me?
I think that would help you because you'd be like, "Who I can actually feel."
That's good. I can actually feel. So what do you think happens like now? If I'm not feeling, what do you think that does to me?
I feel like it, I said this before, it eats you up inside.
So you're worried about what that's doing inside? And I think when I think about the heart and the vice, and now because I have that visual, and now I have even the floating visual, it's that I literally feel the constriction in my heart. So how do I release that? So I think you're right. It's going to be, I'll live a healthier and fuller life, right? If I don't hold it all in. I was talking to a friend, and I was like saying I want to get my cortisol level checked. So there's a stress hormone in your body called cortisol, and it's a really particular test you have to do. I think you have to do it like you have to fast, so you can't eat. You do it a certain time in the morning. But I'm always curious about the stress hormone response in my body and when it activates. And I remember one time I got some bad news from the doctor. I thought was bad news. It was something that happened in a report that someone missed. And I called the doctor. I went straight to the doctor, and they checked my blood pressure. And I do not have high blood pressure. Like, my blood work is always good. And my doctor's like, I don't understand how you don't have high blood pressure with your family history and high cholesterol, diabetes, none of those things. That time it was high. And I remember them putting on my paperwork hypertension, which is like the technical term for high blood pressure. And I was like, I don't have high blood pressure. It was one reading because I was worked up. Mm-hmm. And what that made me think was, so in terms of like feeling it, I have thought, then I started thinking about all those times when I felt that in my body. I was like, oh my gosh, I bet you every time I felt that way, my blood pressure was high.
Probably.
And high blood pressure impacts your heart and your veins and your arteries. And so me learning to be more attuned to my body will not allow that to eat me up inside. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really powerful. So I think what you're giving me is also like, how people like, I wish you long life. You saying to be more attuned and to express my emotions is your, I think, a beautiful way of being like, I wish you long life. If you express that, if you let it out, it doesn't eat you up inside, and then you can live more fully and more freely. So that in of itself is really powerful.
And then we get to travel more.
Yes.
Travel. We love traveling.
Yeah, I think that's really beautiful, Emma. I love that. Thank you. That's like your a prayer over me, so I appreciate that. And what I hope that does, as I learn to be more attuned and to express, is that it gives you permission to do that, and that you don't ever become the robot in older life, that you learn that your emotions are your superpower, and that makes you fully human. Don't ever be robotic. I think you are teaching all of us that. And if it didn't catch, see, I looked at the thing again. Lord, I am like now a little paranoid about that. I don't know if we said this and it got filmed or not, but I said someone at church was like, you need to pay this girl by the hour, or you need to charge by the hour. So if you charge by the hour, how much would you charge? The first time you said
15.
And I said, girl, you need to charge $150. But also, I can't recall what you said and why I was like, was it the chicken nugget wisdom?
I think.
Okay. So we'll segue into that. We're working through this, y'all, because
Our
in real time.
brains.
Well, because it stopped working because I didn't listen and I wasn't paying attention.
It's not your fault.
Well, I mean, I should have and you just next time just be like, mommy, but no, for real.
I'm gonna be like, for real, for real,
For real, for real.
for real.
So I think it's a beautiful segue into honoring my 45th birthday, even though you're saying 25.
35 now.
35. Honoring my birthday and thinking about what, and all that we talked about, all that you hope for me and pray for me for the new year. What is the chicken nugget wisdom for me, for everyone that's listening?
I'm gonna do everyone.
Okay.
The chicken nugget wisdom for everyone is to write down a list of how you felt on your past birthdays, like throughout the years.
And I think also what you said was, I don't think you necessarily said felt the first time, but you said just what happened on your birthday. But I think as we talked about it, it was more like a feeling. Like, so say, and I gave the example, say that birthday I talked about with the roller skating and how my mom took up all the space and I was like, it's actually my birthday, but okay. That the beauty and what you're saying to go through and remember your birthdays and recall them is that I can then be an observer where I'm taking myself out of the moment and kind of like hovering over it and thinking about what you're saying, like write down, like do that kind of journey line. It's a reclaiming of the story that I might have had about my mom. What it can help me do is give more grace to the situation. It can also help me to see more about what are the other things that were happening around me instead of zeroing in on that one bad thing, and to see all the other good in spite of like how I struggle to be celebrated, that I did have birthdays. So I think you're giving me a gift of being like, let's take stock and inventory of what actually happened, be the observer, and don't attach any label to it. I think because my iPad went dark and you thought that was going dark. But I think that is awesome. And I think that will free me to start thinking also about how, so you gave me another coping mechanism for how to reframe my birthday. That is a beautiful gift. So charge $150 an hour. That's good.
That's too much. 100.
Girl, don't you downplay your gifts and your talents and just your intuition. I'm just saying. And we're joking, but I'm thinking like, no, seriously, like you have a gift. So I think that's beautiful. Write those things down. I hope y'all take that practice to heart. I think it's a beautiful invitation for me, and I might do that before my birthday. I think that's really going to be helpful, like to think about the journey line, think about my birthdays.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, before my birthday. Or even just think about that while I'm at the spa. But I think that is beautiful, Emma. So thank you for that.
While you're getting your massage.
Listen, the salt scrub, being in that tub by myself. No dogs, no kids, I love y'all. No husband, just alone time. Thank you, God, for the alone time.
And I'm going to be practicing or in school.
You'll be in school and then you have orchestra that night. Yes. And I'll have to get your bass tuned tomorrow. But it's all going to work out. It's going to be good. Mm-hmm. So thank you for honoring me, for just holding space, for saying those really kind words, and for me to practice hearing that without being like, eh. It's the most beautiful thing to hear it from you. So I think now that I've practiced it with you, I can probably do it with other people. So next time I won't be like, they don't have to say that. I'll be like, yes, you know what, you're right. I am beautiful. I am beautiful. I do get the fashion right sometimes. We'll have you look at my birthday outfit. I'm going to be the cool mom that day.
You are a cool mom.
You heard it here first, y'all. You will hopefully not get to the age where you'll think I'm not cool, but moms are talking about that. They're like, there's going to be an age where I'm not cool anymore. It's usually teenagers. You're like, you're not cool anymore. And then
teenagers are scary.
They are. There's a lot going on.
Stinky.
No, the little ones are stinky.
Us?
Yes. Because y'all don't know about
boys.
The showering
it's
yet.
It's the boys.
Yeah.
It's the boys.
Usually by teenagers, you start getting it together and start worrying about hygiene and taking care of yourself. But this age, I don't even like going in y'all classrooms. It'd be rough in there. In the summertime, Lord help us all. You know my nose is strong.
You're like...
Look, we all off topic.
Yes, but we gotta go.
We gotta go because we had to film this again.
Yes.
But thank you. Emma, I appreciate you. Thank you. And thank you for letting me be in my soft girl era as I turned 45. And even when the thing went off and you were like, it's okay, mommy, we can do it again.
Yes.
Because I was like, you know what? This is trash. But we did it.
Yes.
Thank you. Now make sure I get that poem.
I
want to
sent it
save
to you.
that. Oh, you did?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to share that. Can I share that with the people?
Yes.
Okay. I'll be at the spa, y'all. I'll see y'all later.
And then I'll be playing the big bass.
As long as we get it tuned.
Yes.
See you next week. Bye.
I'm so glad you joined me and Mommy for this episode of Living in 3D Power. I hope you like it. Now do me a favor before you leave. Subscribe to our Substack and make sure you subscribe to wherever you listen to podcast too. And hey, do me another favor. Share this episode with a friend or family member. If something we said made you laugh, made you smile, or it might mean something to them, just send it away. Okay, one more favor. That's a lot of favors, I know. Head over to the comments on our social media. Tell us what made you say, "That's deep, bro." Because your words encourage other people and they encourage us too. See you next time.